Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory Moravietz. And today we have a special guest who I'm just stunned by his brilliance. Michael Hudlow has some really exciting technology that I personally interacted with and was just blown away. But before we get started, I want to just go over a quick introduction about him because he's a pretty sharp guy and he's got a lot to offer the MSP world. So Michael, first, let me just say thank you for joining us today. But let me make a quick intro on so we do a little flex for you here. So Michael Hudlow, everybody, brings 20 plus years of experience helping businesses use technology to drive growth, and so they are more efficient. And as VP of Modern Workforce Solutions at Teammate Technologies, and he's also the author of 2 CRM books, he specializes in AI-driven CRM and communication strategies with tools like Slack and Microsoft Teams. He's held leadership roles at Alvarez and Marcel, Arthur Andersen, and PwC, guiding Fortune 500s and startups through digital transformation. He's known for making complex concepts practical. He helps organizations automate customer relationships and improve collaboration. But what sets Michael apart is his hands-on approach. He's seen what makes implementations succeed or fail. And with both real-world experience and published expertise, he delivers insights that are immediately useful for business leaders. So, Michael, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no. So let me start off with this first section here. Most businesses today are drowning in communication chaos. You got Teams, you got Slack, traditional phone systems, AI chatbots, all of this is just scattered everywhere. I've seen this, right? So you've built solutions that actually unify these platforms, but what's the biggest mistake you see companies making when they try to connect their communication ecosystem, and how does that impact their bottom line?
Yeah, well, It's a huge question. It's actually even larger problem. All the technical solutions that you just mentioned. What's ironic about it is that if you know what those technologies are, well, you've already kind of crossed or gotten past the first hurdle, meaning that there are many companies, many, maybe more companies that don't know what those technologies are and are kind of sort of winging it, right? They're using their cell phones, they're using spreadsheets, they're getting back to people, and they're using their email system as their communications platform. And it's a huge mistake, especially in today's world when there's no excuse whether you're a small 1 or 2 person company, medium, couple hundred, large, thousands. There's no excuse not to have modern technology helping you out. And sometimes that's AI driven, which I would like to talk about that in a little bit, like with what I would say AI voice is the most common thing right now, which is just, actually talking with an AI generated expert to make your outbound or inbound calls. But there's also the things like you mentioned, Slack and Teams, which are the business equivalent of what you use in your personal life. When you use your Apple SMS to talk to your family and friends, well, those Slack and Teams are the modern business equivalent of those things. And frequently companies put them in as a direct replacement for texting somebody, but you're doing it at the company, but you're still texting somebody. And that is just absolutely scraping the surface of what these things are available and can do. And guess what? You're buying all that functionality already. If you're using those tools, if you're using a modern day CRM like HubSpot or Salesforce or Teams or Slack, well, you're already paying for those things. The fact that you're not using them properly, it's a shame. And what's amazing about it is that it's not so hard to get it right. So you asked what the biggest, mistake that I see. It is the believing that having any one of these modern tools simply installed, available to you, to your staff, to your workforce, just having them available is the biggest step. And yes, it's a big step because obviously you have to be there to do something with them. But you are absolutely, killing your bottom line by not using these tools to their fullest capability because they can supercharge your workforce and you can outpace your customers. And so that's the first thing is if you have these tools, if you knew all those tools that you'd mentioned, you have them, but you're not really sure exactly what's happening. And I don't care if you're the leader of the company or a technical leader. If you don't know how people are actually using them and the features that maybe possibly more importantly that they're not using, then you need to take a deep look at why you think it's good enough. Because I'm gonna, for a little more work effort, you could be getting a huge value out of them. And if you don't know what they are, you need to talk to someone such as myself. I sound like a psychiatrist here, but you need to talk to someone like myself or someone else in the field to start saying, how can I take baby steps to get better tools out there? Because they are out there and they're not going to break the bank.
Do you have out of the box AI agents that, because I remember you and I talking about it, and there might be a time where special configurations need to occur, and is this something that can be done by a novice individual, the configuration, or do you have to have this expert that has superior technical skills to come in and make changes? So
Right.
Slack talks to Teams, Teams talks to the PSA tool.
Right.
Right. Does it get? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So, a couple components there. Firstly, with pure AI, and that's not Slack or Teams. They have components that are, but that's not really, I think, the intent of your question. AI, and let's just call them agents until the world thinks of a better name. That's what we're going to go with. So AI voice agents in particular, you do not need, you need to work with someone that obviously can provides the one that you like. For example, you'd mentioned, and I know you have heard the one that, excuse me, that CETDIGIT has created, which I think is, quite frankly, the best of breed from the pure voice and conversational capabilities. You yourself do not need to be an expert. And you can have something. I mean, if people are just wondering, there's usually a relatively small amount of money, relatively speaking. You think of maybe, $2,000, maybe not even at the entry level, maybe not even for a one-time kind of fee, and then you're talking potentially a couple $100 a month just to keep it living and breathing. No pun intended, or no jest intended there. But that agent, what it could do for you with you could seriously, if you talk to the right company, you could talk to them on a Monday and have this running by Tuesday with really no heavy lift by the consumer. And that would be able to, for example, pick up the phone, say hello, know everything there is to know about your company, as if it's presented like on a website or things like that. Know everything that you need to know, and then be able to transfer to people within your company pretty much day one, very simply. And then it would, that same agent or an agent like it would also be able to do outbound calls. So even if you did not have a CRM system like a HubSpot or a Zoho or Salesforce, or there's a million others, if you had a list of, let's just say you got from LinkedIn or any of the other services that out there in the world, if you had a spreadsheet with, let's just say, 1,000 rows on it of 1,000 people and their phone numbers or their email addresses, because it can email, call, it can text, whatever. You could have an agent just going down a list, calling potential opportunities and pre-qualifying them for potentially a conversation with yourself, and without all the headache and the heartache of having a full-time salesperson or you yourself doing it. So you do not require expertise. You'll never require expertise even for a much more advanced agent, one that actually can, send out bills, take orders, comment about handling pretty detailed customer support requests. You, as a consumer, would still not have to have any expertise, but you would just be talking to someone that would, ask you the right questions. Basically, think of it as an interview, and then they would configure an agent accordingly. That usually takes maybe a week or so, but remarkably, these things are not too difficult. Now, if with regards to Teams and Slack, both Teams and Slack can be installed by, they're meant to be easy to install, or already, many people probably, even if you have Microsoft operating system, probably already have Teams on your machine. And if you're a user of Salesforce, you almost certainly have Slack there as well. So those are very simple. To connect those two, Teams and Slack, which is amazing, is that, I think there is, I forget the number right off the top of my head, but it's somewhere in the 70% range, where 70% of small businesses and businesses in general are operating in the Microsoft, Office kind of environment suite, and they're using Teams. And then, but there's another huge overlap of those same companies that also have Slack running in their world. And both, to the uninitiated, both of those are like I said, inter-office company texting systems. Teammate, the other company that you'd mentioned earlier, makes the only connector, which is amazing to me, but it's true, and I represent them as well. Teammate makes the only connector that connects Teams to Slack in a company, so that you don't need to be watching both of those platforms. And many tens and thousands of companies are doing exactly manual watching both streams to make sure you're getting including in everything. And the connector itself that connects those two is designed to be basically deployed by a non-technical person. I mean, but so all of this stuff is very easy. And I think, the real recommendation, if someone doesn't get anything else out of this conversation today, I would say is with regards to AI and improving your corporate communications, there is no time like the present to get started. It's not that hard, but the consequence of not doing it now is quite scary. And
Mike,
yeah,
let me ask you. I'm going to get a little bit challenging here.
shoot.
Can it create contracts? If I gave AI access to all the contracts I've created, and I tell it, look, I need to build a SOC package for XYZ Corporation, would it be able to extract all that data I've given it access to and say, okay, here's a, because it takes me about 20 minutes to create a contract, 20, maybe sometimes 30 minutes if I'm not distracted, if I get distracted. But is it going to be that powerful?
It's not an will it be. It already is, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you would like me to, I came to it right this second. It will do it better than you in 3 minutes. 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
So let me would you like me to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Okay.
This gets me very excited.
So this is not AI voice. This is not Teams. This is not Slack. But this is just AI in general. I'm going to give you a personal use case.
Okay.
So I do a lot of my own advising as well, based upon the business scars I've attained and the lessons learned from getting those scars over 25 some plus years. So what I have done for myself, and largely I'm guessing because of what you just said, you probably have the same kind of issue that you're having, is I started to think about, my God, I keep having this redundant pattern of things that I'm doing, and they're just different enough where I can cut and paste, right? So, but they're so similar. If you looked at them from across the room, you probably wouldn't be able to tell them apart. But when you get up real close to them, you can tell them apart. And so what I did, and I do this for myself, and I personally use Claude AI, which is it's an AI engine that you go to Claude and put it into your Google search engine and you'll find it. And Claude's got some interesting features. They all have this now, but Claude, I think, was the first one. And I like Claude just because I think it writes better than others. But what I do in Claude has these project rooms. And in the project rooms, each one of them, if you can imagine, a project room is a conversation that is already preloaded with context. So when you go to ChatGPT right now and ask it a question, you're always having to write the very detailed sentence out and saying, I need, I'm looking for XYZ. What do you think about PDQ? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, with any of the engines that have these project capability is you already give it all that context before you even get there. So for example, with myself, if I'm writing a contract that I want to be, let's just say according to the laws, I live in Florida. So according to the laws of Florida, for example, I will have in my repository already the laws, whatever the relevant regulations that I need to abide by are. If I have a best of breed statement of work or contract that I have a few of them, I'll put them in there. If I have a framework that I say, I want all contracts to have these 7 sections, I always want this phraseology in this section, for example. And I've also loaded it up with, if you have price guides, like, rate per hours, or, if you're a company that has different staff classes, if you're doing project work, maybe you want to load up the PMP, project management, guide of, whatever you want. And what I literally will do, whereas before I used to say, help me write a contract for bup, 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 bup. Well, it already knows all that stuff. So in this area, I've already also said, you are an expert contract writer, abiding by the laws of, whatever, the United States, and then this is what I want you to do, just in a sentence, and I don't have to do this ever again. And then I'll say, all I'm going to do is provide you, Mr. Chatbot, I'm going to provide you with a URL of the company, followed by what they want done. Like, they need me to fix the whatever, the XYZ. And then I hit enter. And then it's going to go out and see, hey, that problem, you've solved it before. You did this, you did that. The industry says you should be doing this, this, and this. And then it makes up that statement of work. And then the other add-on I have, as I say, for all of my statement of works, add an appendix that offers them, based upon deep research, for the engine to figure out, at the time of writing, that what are the possible, cross sells or upsells that I could be offering. If they sell widgets, and what do most widget companies out there in the world have a problem with regards to whatever the problem is you're trying to solve, and then offer them those services too, because maybe they're not even thinking about that stuff yet. So yes, it already happens. I do it almost every day. And I'd happy to show you yourself or anybody else on, on a screen share at some other time, no problem.
Interesting. Greg, feel free to jump in here. But I had ran it by Michael already that we have dozens and dozens of tech request calls coming in. And I was thinking an AI can quickly respond, confirm they opened a ticket, and if they had anything else to report, they would then escalate it to the tech or whatever. They would do a handoff. But you said it was that's an easy implementation, but it does need some special configuration. But
the only reason it needs special configuration, and I wouldn't even call it, I'm not trying to wordsmith here. It's not even a configuration. The concept of what has to be understood, meaning I can't answer a question on things that I have no bearing on or no relevance on. So if you can imagine, let's just say, you called me up and said, hey, I need customer support hotline. And I have, whatever. I have, here are the top 100 questions that people ask me. Here's the answers to all of them. I don't even need the answers, but, let's just say we need the answers. Or maybe you sell washing machines. I would just say, give me the manual of the washing machine, for example.
Yeah. And
I would drop that into a repository that the agent that we've decided you're going to use has access to. So it's not like we have to reinvent the wheel. All I have to do is put the stuff in the bucket. And the agents themselves, and I'm talking about the good ones, so like the ones that CETDIGIT have, are dynamic thinkers. So outside of some very high level stuff, like, always start out being pleasant, and saying hello, that kind of thing. Everything that these agents do is dynamic based upon who you are, why you're calling. Like, so for example, if you're calling in to into a customer support center, and you're a customer of ours, well, that means your phone number that you're calling from is almost certainly in our CRM system. So the second that phone number lights up into the AI's brain, the AI brain has already made connection to what your company does, what you sell, everything we know about it, every conversation we had before with you, right? So that's done like that. Now, while you're calling, you're going to say, hey, man, the door off my washing machine broke, for example. Well, that agent already knows how to fix that, what the part numbers are. And if you want to, you can connect them into an ERP system that says, well, we have 7 in stock. Do you want me to get it out the door? Place the order, send them a text message to an invoice, and the transaction's done. Now, I made that sound very, very easy. The reality is, with some planning, I think the good companies have made that easy. And it is a very common request for us now for let's just say SMBs to say, you know what, we have 8 sales agents right now. We love half of them have bad attitudes, they show up late for work, whatever. Can you clone the 4 that I love into the replace the other 4? So I only have 4 staff, but now I really have 8, for example, salespeople, or 8 customer support, whatever you want. That is the most common request we get now. It's not about replacing people. It's more usually about either supplementing somebody. Like, this person really should be a manager of people, but I can't afford to have a manager and a lot of people. So I'm going to upgrade this person to a manager, and they're going to manage all of these inbound, outbound voices, happening automatically. And I'm just going to make sure that they're, things are getting done, which they would be. But it is really getting to the point now that if your competition, this is why I said earlier, you really have to, watch where you are right now, because you're going to get smoked by somebody who's already onto this game, is that you can really reduce your monthly spend and make more outbound or answer more inbound calls with reduced amount of money, then your competition is going to beat you to that game, and they're going to be more successful. And it's an unfortunate reality. I mean, I've said many times, the AI is starting to get really creepy, because it is getting so good. But here's the good thing: you're still way ahead of the curve if you get into it now. I don't know if that's going to hold out, 2 years from now or a year from now.
So
let me ask some
Go ahead.
questions. What does it cost? I mean, what's the cost of it? Is it per transaction? I mean, are you just running a fee every month for the bot, or what? Isn't it just a bot, a smarter bot?
Yeah. So good question. And this is actually a question that gets, excuse me, in particular, SMB leaders a little bit confused about. And it's largely due to the fact that you can go to ChatGPT or your favorite AI search engine, and it's free. You type in a request. It's kind of like Super Google, and and people assume it's free, and they are free for the consumer at the small level. But those companies, any of Anthropic, ChatGPT, all of them, and there's a dozen big guys out there. Their engines, when you use them for specific purposes, like when I was talking about using it as your receptionist, well, you are taking a slice of horsepower, brain power, and dedicating it to your company, and it's answering questions on you. So it's no longer just doing popping up ads on the side or whatever. It's working for you. So the AI world, I always call it the AI gods now, because it's just becoming so many layers. They use these things called tokens, and tokens, to make it simple to understand, let's use the concept of an AI voice agent. So do you remember not that long ago when we were growing up, and every month the phone bill used to come in, and you'd be like, oh my God, I hope my parents don't yell at me, because there's going to be a long distance charge when I was talking to my girlfriend and, across the state or whomever. And you got charged by the minute. Well, basically that's what we're talking about now. So an AI voice agent, the AI, if you can understand the mechanics, the actual engine that's thinking, that part is usually covered with a flat monthly fee. It could be a couple $100. And that would be, like, for example, with CETDIGITAI's case, you're going to pay them a monthly fee to make sure that your agent is being responsive. Maybe you want to change the voice, the language capabilities. Maybe you want it to be more humorous or more professional, or whatever the case may be. You're going to pay them some fee a month, hugely cheaper than a person, but there will be some monthly fee. The only last fee that comes into play then are these tokens that I was talking about. So I can think of one of the large companies that charges, depending on volume, somewhere around 15 cents a minute, rounded up or down to the near second, for actual conversation. So, you're gonna an SMB might have a couple $100 there of paying, like I said, the AI gods for that individualized stream of thought. But once again, even with the monthly charge and the per second charge, you're still talking, hundreds of dollars a month for an agent, or maybe 1,000, depending on your volume, as opposed to paying, somebody $60K a year, and then having to deal with, people coming in late or sick or whatever, because obviously that doesn't happen to any of these things.
So what about the fact that there's like AI fatigue? I have it whenever I get into a situation where I have to talk to an AI bot. I immediately hang up or turn off, because usually I ask it questions and it can't answer them, because I'm usually calling in about something unique, right? So if I call in about something unique, I can't get help. And it's like, what happens when you just have this fatigue that it's immediate in some situations? After a while, I call a particular line. What do you guys think about AI fatigue?
The fatigue that you are talking about, in my opinion, means that the company you've called, or in this case, if you've bought one of the right agents and have one working for you, if someone's getting fatigue, then you've bought the wrong agent, or the company you're calling bought the wrong agent. The most modern agents are going to answer, and someone one day is going to drive by and like throw an egg at me or something like that, but there's no way a salesperson or a customer support person, a human, I can't believe I'm at the point now where I have to say that somebody's human. There is no way, in my opinion, that a human could have the depth of knowledge that an AI agent can have about your company, without like working for your company for 20, 25 years. It's just not possible. And they're too good now. And in particular, the ones that CETDIGIT has, I can think of several times where I have like 11, 12 minutes of conversation that I listen to, and then finally the person goes, "Hey, wait a minute. Are you human? Are you a robot?" That kind of thing. And it took them that long. And you cannot. So here's the thing about AI agents. You, as a business owner, if you put one in play, you can put guardrails up about where that conversation is going. Like, so for example, I said that they think and they speak dynamically, which is all true. But we want to tell it what its goal is. Is it to get in a meeting? Is it to sell a thing? Is it to answer a question? What is the goal? Obviously, they're not there to just chit chat all day long, which they can do. So you have to give them parameters. Also, if someone says, I have a massive problem that's, my whole network is down and I need your help right now. I need to talk to Joe, or, I need to, whatever. The agent has to have the ability to say, "I hear you loud and clear. Boom, here's Joe." Okay. So if someone is calling with support about some service that you offer, that agent should be fully capable, if you want it to be, to answer any question that any staff that you have on your staff can answer. It should be. Now, that's if you want it. Some people don't want that. So it really, and then even, and I will say from like, I was talking about CETDIGIT, but also like with Teammate, they really focusing in on, I was talking about the intra-company communications between Slack and Teams, and also AI like receptionists, because it's it's just the focal points of of the companies. Those agents can also attach to a company's like their PBX system. So it's not just making random calls to people out anywhere. It knows everybody on the system. It knows how to transfer them using the proper systems that company uses. So there is just a lot of intelligence happening there. And like I said before, it's never like, it's lunch hour, so there's no one sitting at the front desk, and there's always somebody there. They're always going to give the best answer. And if somebody hangs up on them, a millisecond later, the agents have a smile on their face again and just keep going. They just never stop. So, that's really where it comes down is that, the modernization of the communications is just monstrously huge. And if you don't have these agents already, you need to think about getting them. And if you're using Teams or Slack and you are using it simply as a standalone kind of tool, then you really should be talking to someone to help you out, because those tools can help people collaborate with documents, share things in repositories, as I mentioned before, transfer calls. Now with the apps that are available from Teammate to connect Teams and Slack, well, before, if you had one person that needed to be able to communicate on both of those systems, well, guess what? You needed a license for both sides of that. You need one person need to have two licenses. I mean, that's totally the wrong direction. And now that doesn't happen anymore. The person picks the tool set they like the best, and now it can communicate with the other tool sets that the rest of the people in your company like. These are all what I would consider relatively low entry fee to get started using these things. But on top of it, the monthly savings is just huge. So it just sometimes people don't know the right questions to ask, or they think they're doing it good enough, and that's we'll put off this problem to some other day.
Well, we already know that. Well, Greg, did you have another question? I got
No.
a question about HubSpot.
Sure.
Because HubSpot is a pretty robust platform. Is that right,
Michael? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that thing is a beast. It's not easy to manage. Now, as we know, it's very powerful, but many companies barely scratch the surface of what's possible when you properly integrate AI and communication platforms. Can you walk us through a real example where you've taken a company's basic HubSpot setup and transformed it into an AI-powered growth engine, and what was the final impact? Right, the final result?
Yeah, so this one is kind of like the culmination of like all the things that I do, and it's the bread and butter of a lot of people's problems. And what I'll say to this is, you asked specifically about HubSpot, and I'm going to answer that specifically about HubSpot. But if you have one of the 40 CRM systems out there, which there are even more than that, but there's a handful of popular ones. If you have any one of those systems, this answer is going to be relevant to any one of you. So just if I say the word HubSpot, you can just transfer any CRM name in there you want.
Okay.
So here's the problem with HubSpot, and I'll say Salesforce, and like I said, all the others. Yep. CRMs. There's a massive problem with CRMs regarding what I would call adoption. Salespeople in particular, I'm just going to pick on them. I'm one of them. But any user, but I'll just say Salesforce. A salesperson, the last thing they want to do is input their stuff into a system where their boss can therefore track them. Maybe their internal company people may, have access to something. And just out of sheer, like, would they rather make another sales call that potentially could make them money, or would they rather put this stuff into a organized system? And the answer is always they're going to make the phone call to try to get more money, which is not bad. So how do you and then if you're the company themselves, you want that person selling too. I mean, they make money, you make money, vice versa. So the AI agents that we are talking about, imagine if everything that agent consumes to make a call or to receive a call, every nugget of information it gets is being transcribed, audio file is being recorded, and then both of them are being summarized, every action item, and then every bit of that information is being put into HubSpot. Everything that potential customer says, like I'm really interested in, whatever the XYZ platform or, thing that you sell, everything is recorded. Everything is put in the right field. Everything is forwarded to the right person. So I want to buy something and that person is calling from Arizona. Well, the Arizona rep is going to get that lead, except they're not. Then when that Arizona rep that used to be making cold calls and pre-qualified calls, well, guess what? Now they're only making phone calls, from 9 to 5 or whatever they work, based upon things that have already been vetted to the level that you want them vetted by something that is extremely intelligent, the AI voice agent. Everything is added. That record is created. Someone calls you that's completely new, a record just got added in HubSpot. It potentially just got assigned to someone. The conversation, and so there's AI is able to do what we call sentiment analysis. What was not just the words, what's the feel of that conversation. Also, they have access, if you want them to have, so if a person's calling, it's a repeat, well, they have access to everything that person has already called about, has already ordered from you. So they have a context. Once again, you can't get a new salesperson to have that access to that much information in milliseconds. It just, they wouldn't even think about it. And the conversation, if it was with a person, go. So anyway, I'm just saying, everything that is laborious and manual, everything that humans despise about CRMs, a huge chunk of that goes away when you invoke AI.
Yeah, that to me, that's just insane. It's insane. Well, looking ahead, where do you see this intersection of communication, connectivity, and AI heading? What should business leaders be preparing for now? And what's one investment in their communication infrastructure that will pay dividends as AI becomes even more central to business operations?
Right. I think let's just say it was me and I had a small few person operation and I didn't have any of these things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I would do two major things. And that doesn't mean you need to shake in your boots and go call your banker to fund these things. Here's what you need to do. One, you should get a CRM system, and I would recommend HubSpot just because I feel it is the easiest one. Despite it being complex, it's also the easiest one. And you can go to their website now and get a free license for an individual just to, kick the tires of it. But you need a CRM. You need to graduate from a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, Excel. You need to graduate to a system that can actually keep your business development activities on the move. And then two, immediately, and maybe not even in this order, maybe I would get the AI agent first, because Fernando, as we discussed earlier in a previous conversation, is AI does not need a CRM. It can make phone calls based upon a spreadsheet. So like I said, if you, let's just say, I do not want a CRM right now, but I really want help calling, these 5,000 names that I just grabbed off the internet somewhere. Well, that's fine. So an AI agent can easily work from a spreadsheet, can make all these phone calls, and then what it will do is put this, and I would just say keep it easy. Keep the summary of that phone call, like this person wants to call you back. Wants you to call them back, or it could book something, like automatically throw something on your Google Calendar, for example, to schedule a meeting with that person. Like, these people like you. They said schedule a time. I looked at your calendar and placed something on your calendar. Well, imagine you had to pay someone a couple $100 a month to just nonstop call potential clients and put things on your calendar for you. I mean, who wouldn't want that? So I would, if it was me, I would do AI voice agents, both inbound, meaning someone to take the calls for me. And keep in mind, it could be in your voice. So I would have somebody do something doing that, especially if you have a couple people are working with you. Maybe you have a couple partners or a couple staff. Something that takes the calls, so people don't have to get bothered with nonsense calls. And then I would have an outbound agent that is calling. You go on LinkedIn, and then especially if you use like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can easily find a list of 5,000 names that are probably relevant to your world somehow. Get that list, put it in Google Sheets, have the AI voice agent go, okay, call these people. If there is no phone number, email them. If you have an email and a phone number, well, write an email or call them, and then tomorrow follow up with a text message. And you will have just supercharged. I mean, it is not uncommon for people to say, you know what, I need you to throttle back how many phone calls are happening a day. Because there's just not enough time in my calendar. If someone tries to book time with you and say, well, they can't talk to you until the 12th of never, that's not a good feel either. So that's what I would do first. I would do the voice agents in and out, but I would strongly, especially if your budget allows for it, definitely put a system like HubSpot in, and your life will, I was going to use the word magically. It's probably not the right word, but it will transform the way your business operates.
I know you've opened my eyes to getting serious about this, because right now I have a virtual assistant that does a lot of work for me, and I'm thinking the way we've got it set up, it's so repetitive that I think it would be easy for an AI to just take over my newsletter and social media campaign. It's
we haven't even talked about social media. That's for the next podcast if you have me back. But the social media aspect is every bit as impressive as what we just talked about.
Well, Michael, I need you to do a live demo for us next month. I think we already agreed on a date. This is like really exciting stuff, and I need you, man. I need
you.
I
I'm down with all of that, and here's the thing. As you can tell by the lack of most of the hair on my head, I'm in my later 50s. I have come to the point where I enjoy speaking and adding value more than the financial rewards. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, financial rewards are important to every one of us, but seeing the benefit of a leader who was trying to figure out things and says, oh my God, I didn't realize that I could be doing this. That's pretty cool. And it's very nice and it's very rewarding. What I would mention to anyone is, if you're thinking about doing this kind of stuff, I mean, reach out, Fernando, reach out to yourself, reach out to any of us, reach out to myself, network with me. I'd be more than I'm not a hardcore press kind of like buy this now or else kind of dude. But I do like having conversations with people. And that's genuine. I think if I can get one thing to anybody is, the AI, I'll tell you from a developer standpoint or like I am a software system architect kind of background. The old world used to have people designing systems, testing systems for, months, years on end, 8-month rollout plans. Those days are gone. If you talk to any kind of serious company that's doing any kind of AI agency kind of work, and both teammate teammate on the Teams and the Slack side, they are very highly longer tails of testing and things, just because those systems are such formal ingrained systems. But with regard to just pure AI agents and AI agencies and the people who adopt them, it's much more along the lines of just start doing it. I mean, every week sees changes in this world, and what you adopt, and don't be overly concerned about it. I mean, we're not. This is not things that are just going to start forest fires. These are things that are going to take over. You just mentioned about having like third party assistance. Well, you're not changing that process. All you're doing effectively is changing who that assistant is. And what I'm saying is, how about we get someone that's 4 times cheaper than what you're paying right now, but knows everything. Like, we have agents that are so smart that some companies are deploying them internally to be the question and answer person for that company themselves. So like when someone says, oh my God, how does the PDQ program work at our firm? Well, you just pick up the phone or you get on Teams or Slack and you ask the question, and AI comes back to you with the exactly right answer. So I think infamous, there's no time like the present. Okay. So just think that way, everyone. It's not that. More than happy to talk with anybody, and more, including you guys, for as long as you ever want to talk.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to send you an email just to give you an overview of the webinar and what information I need from you to have a successful webinar. And so we generate a buzz and interest. I just need to meet with you one more time, just so I can get everything in place, so we can have a live
Sure.
webinar. So
sure.
But before we sign off, Greg, do you have any other questions?
No, that's it.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, Michael.
Thanks.
Thank you. No. Thank you. This has been so enlightening. Thank you so much.
You take care. Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.